All right, 7 o'clock. It is Tuesday, January 7th, 2025. I'm going to call the regular meeting to order of the East Lyme Inland Wetlands Agency, and we're going to start with the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, so at this point, I'll turn the meeting over to Gary because we have to elect our chair.
We do?
Yeah,
Every year,
every year.
whether we need it or not. Procedural.
It's not on the agenda.
Public allegations, no, it's
No.
Make a
So
motion.
should we go to additions to the agenda first? All right, so we have an addition to the agenda is the election of officers for tonight's meeting, which we will do before public delegations. Oh, do I hear a motion?
Make a motion to, I did put the addition of elections onto the agenda.
Do I hear a second?
I second that.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Oh, and John, you can be seated today. We were missing a few. I don't know that he has one.
Thank you so much, sir. Captain Ireland, how are you? Sorry, I missed that last one. Thanks for talking about it. That's pretty good. These guys got me running around.
Did you already hand the meeting over?
Oh, so I'll turn the meeting over to Gary for the.
So, for the election of officers, do I hear any nominations for the position of chair?
I'd like to make a motion.
Is it just for a nomination?
Yeah. For Chris to remain our chair. She's done a great job.
Thank you.
I'll second it.
Okay. Seconded. Any discussion? Usually you call for the nomination 3 times, right? Yeah. Are there any other nominations? Are there any other nominations? Hearing none? Kristen,
Okay, thank
congratulations.
you.
You're the chair.
Appreciate it.
I'll hand the meeting back over to you.
Very good.
All right, so then moving on, do I hear any nominations for vice chair?
I nominate Don Pfister for vice chair.
Thank you.
I'll
Do I-
second you.
Okay.
I'll second.
Do I hear any other nominations for vice chair? Going twice. And then a third time, do I hear any other nominations for vice chair? All right, goes to Don.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you. You've been doing great.
All right.
And for our secretary, do I hear any nominations for our secretary?
I'd like to nominate Phyllis Berger as secretary.
I'll second that.
All right, and then do I hear? Greg seconded. Do I hear any other nominations for secretary? And one last time, third time, any other nominations for secretary? Thank you, Phyllis.
All right, Phyllis.
All right.
All right, easy enough.
Thank you.
So next we'll move to public delegations. Public delegations is the time when members of the public are invited to speak to the commission about certain matters. Issues or concerns related to approved wetland permits and in-house proposals or general topics of discussion are open to comment. Agenda items, referrals, applications subject to a decision by the commission, a public hearing, or in litigation may not be discussed. The members of the commission will not directly answer questions or make comments during delegations. Come on up. State your name, please, and address.
My name is Donald Danella, and I reside at 24 Patagonia Drive, East Lyme. I am an East Lyme Board of Selectmen appointed member of the Niantic River Watershed Committee and the East Lyme Commission for the Conservation of Natural Resources. I'm on the board of directors for the Friends of the Oswegatchie Hills Nature Preserve and a member of Save the River, Save the Hills. However, I would like to make it known that I did not seek authorization from any of these bodies to provide statements tonight on their behalf, but am speaking for myself. However, this is a matter of great interest to all of these groups. I note that upon completion of my remarks, I will provide a complete written record of my comments to this agency's recording secretary. The matter about which I speak has been previously brought before this agency at the October 1st, 2024 meeting by Kristen Lambert, President of the Friends of the Oswegatchie Hills Nature Preserve. Under public delegations, Ms. Lambert noted concerns about the excessive tree clearing occurring on Landmark Development Group's Oswegatchie Hills property. I recently viewed a brief video overflight of this parcel that was recorded on January 1st. I provided a link to this video via emails to Gary Gaishel and your chair, Ms. Chantrell. I'm hoping that this video might be shown at this time to all agency members and others in attendance. This video, which should speak for itself, shows further excessive tree clearing occurring on this property, as well as other environmental damages. Thank you, Gary. Again, this is a drone overflight of the property in question.
There's at one point a truck too, right? So you can see the scale.
Oh, yeah, it's pretty big. It's in the back there. There's a tree break. There's one.
Yeah.
There's the bulldozers. Well, they're more like Kubotas. It's gonna be a mess in the spring.
Mm-hmm.
Wow. Here's when we did that.
Thank you, Gary. As the members of this agency have changed over the years, let me briefly review the circumstances of how this egregious tree clearing has come to be. At the August 14, 2017 agency meeting, under the heading of, quote, landmark development for a tree farm, end quote, Attorney Doug Dubitsky, whom I note was variously named as Dubinsky or Dubicki in the agency's 2017 monthly minutes, submitted an application to this agency for a determination of jurisdiction for a tree farm on a parcel of fully wooded land. As stated in the minutes, the applicant would, quote, selectively pick certain areas to cut down trees and establish new growth by planting of saplings. Continue, continuing within the minutes, quote, "At this time, he doesn't have plans to stump it. If needed in the future, we may decide to remove some stumps. He's looking for a ruling under Connecticut General Statute 22.A.40, establishing tree farm on the property is exempt per wetland jurisdiction," end quote. Further noted in the minutes is, quote, "Not sure how much we'll use of the acreage for a tree farm. In the beginning, we may only use 5 acres," end quote. There were some questions by agency members, including if the wetlands have been delineated. Mr. Dubitsky stated that performing a survey on a 260-acre property would cost tens of thousands of dollars, and they would cut down trees based on the acreage they wanted to use. This matter was continued to the agency meeting in the following month. As noted in the September 11, 2017 agency meeting minutes, Mr. Dubitsky sought an application for a determination of non-regulated activity for a tree farm at Oswegatchie Hills. I will not burden you with the considerable back and forth found in these minutes, but only to mention a few facts. Mr. Dubitsky was asked about tree planting, and he responded that Landmark was looking at 5 acres, but this could be expanded. White pine trees were to be planted. He once again noted there was no intent to perform a wetland survey. There was much discussion about maps provided to the agency and where roads would be constructed with respect to wetlands on this property. Considerable discussion ensued over the town and state wetlands regulations with respect to wetlands, road crossings, fill, replacing old existing culverts, and permittable agricultural uses. In essence, according to Connecticut wetland statutes, there are agricultural exemptions with respect to wetlands activities. The conclusion of this agency was that this application was indeed a farming activity. Given the facts at hand at the time, the agency approved the application with several conditions. One such condition was, quote, "Should our inland wetlands agent feel any of our regulations have been violated, he will be able to take appropriate action." As part of this record, I reviewed a subsequent January 4th, 2019 email from East Lyme Town Attorney Mark Zamarka to Bill Mulholland, East Lyme zoning official. Mr. Zamarka notes that the applicant refers to, quote, "tree clearing limits," which raised the question of whether the applicant intended to establish and manage a forest or engage in clear cutting or logging. Mr. Zamarka then says of the latter, that it, quote, "may fall outside the definition of forestry." He recommended that the applicant clarify his intended uses and that the town should request a site plan showing areas of clearing, replanting, management, etc. There is a subsequent paragraph regarding affordable housing district zoning and what that might mean for tree clearing and the placement of barns or other structures proposed by the applicant. But I believe much of this may be beyond the purview of this agency. Mr. Zamarka concludes by saying, quote, "The permitted use of forestry implies a level of expertise beyond landscaping or farming," end quote. He goes on to mention a Connecticut statute defining, quote, "commercial forest practices," end quote. He concludes that it is specifically what the applicant has proposed and further presumes that Landmark Development has retained a certified forester for this purpose. He finishes by recommending that the name of such a forester be provided to the town so that he or she can help clarify the scope of the proposed use for this property. Now we've come to our present situation, whereby for several years unconstrained clear cutting and road building has been undertaken on this parcel. I will concede that although a 5-acre clearing was bandied about by the applicant in the 2017 agency meetings, the applicant's attorney did cover himself by stating this area could be expanded, as it apparently has been. As seen in the drone overflights of this cleared area, although some slash remains, nearly all stumps have been removed. There are considerable roads used by heavy equipment found on the site. Several standing pools of water are present in the cleared area, which may be evidence for wetlands and wetland soils. There is no evidence that any, quote, "saplings" or, quote, "white pines" have been planted. Has a certified forester ever provided the town with a plan for this property? I believe that words are important in any regulatory context as they form the basis for a decision. I do not think one can seek approval for a farming operation, namely a stated tree farm, without any attempts to make it so. Based on the evidence at hand, I believe the current condition of this portion of the Oswegatchie Hills represents an attempt to circumvent East Lyme's wetlands and perhaps zoning regulations regarding property development. I believe this and perhaps other agricultural exemptions granted in this state with respect to wetlands to be unfortunate. Such exemptions are certainly appropriate for working farmers and sincere agricultural uses. However, this loophole is larger than a bulldozer, skidder, and logging truck combined. Thus, it can be used to circumvent inland wetlands and other local regulations. I therefore urge this agency to consider the available evidence and take the appropriate actions to stop any further environmental degradation of this property in the Oswegatchie Hills. Thank you for allowing me to speak this evening.
So Gary, I know that it says that we cannot directly answer questions or make comments, but obviously we have to discuss this. This is shocking how much clearing is going on.
Yeah, I'll just note that says it will not. So
Will not. So
obligated
okay,
to.
but we can, so we can discuss this because this is.
So I would, if you want to add it, want to discuss it now, we can.
Yeah. Yeah, let's discuss it now. So I think, obviously the point of, I know this was brought up in our last meeting and the exemption of the agricultural use, but there's no proof of agricultural, how do they prove that there's going to be agricultural use on this property?
Yeah, so one of the discussions that I had with Mr. Russo was I referred to the operation as a forestry operation. I noticed that he corrected me and said it's a farming operation. Either way, forestry is agricultural use and it's also considered farming under the definition. So I guess not of semantics, but nonetheless, I wasn't sure what he was getting at. He sure to correct me that it's a farming operation. So be it. As you said, yes, evidence of planting and crop. So or raising of any bird.
Is there any business permits to open up a farm?
Nor have I seen any income. I can check with Mr. Mahon to see if there's a business permit, something for a business registration or anything like that associated with this operation. I think it does beg the question, is that the current activity a violation of the ruling that you guys, that the agency set forth back in 2017? And if during those discussions, and what it sounds like is for the ruling, there was going to be stumping, and if we're hearing that there was some stumping out there, certainly that's in opposition to what was presented. So that may be very well a wetlands violation.
Do we know approximately how many acres? Can I ask you that? Do you have any idea how many acres?
I'm sorry, I do not have that information.
I would estimate the acreage, total acreage out there is 250 total acres. So I think in terms of area clear, it's probably like 100.
Because I wasn't on the commission in 2017. Not sure any of us were, but under the guise of 5 acres or more, I think that in itself is a tremendous amount of clearing, and that falls outside the intent of the commission of the 5 acres or more. So I would say there's definitely a violation here, especially since there's obvious water on the property, and to not have any kind of surveys done, there's wetlands violations there. You can't say 5 or more meaning 100. That's not, it's misleading. You guys agree?
No, I agree completely. And
Absolutely.
It is trying to, it appears they're trying to take advantage of the regulations and skirt the actual application process. And this is outside of what a 5 acre or more tree farm looks like, in my opinion. So I think there should be a cease and desist, and that they need to come with an application, or at least discussion on what exactly is going on.
Why are they removing the stumps? I don't know.
I would think they would need to either forward with an application, or if it is in fact a true forestry operation.
Then can we,
As just pointed out, as a certified forester, present the plans. One of the things that I have taken from another municipality is there's a form for forestry operations. It's kind of a standardized thing. All the foresters use it, and we require it. It's basically what deep requires when they ask for information. That needs to be modeled and followed. So if someone's looking to conduct a non-regulated activity such as a forestry operation, they can fill this out, bring it before the commission.
well, that's, yeah, as we're looking at our regulations, even as far as agricultural use goes, I think that we need evidence that there's a plan to actually,
Agriculture.
yeah, to perform agricultural use of the property, and whatever that may be. But I think to just someone just blindly go do whatever they want is not acceptable, because it falls under the guise of agriculture or whatever it is. Does planning have any? I mean, if it's an agricultural use of the property, does that fall under planning at all, or is that strictly just we don't require a wetlands permit or zoning, planning?
That's it.
Does the agricultural use exempt under planning?
Do they have to present it to planning or zoning or anybody?
No, if anything, it would be zoning, we have like site plan approval, if you're having building structures.
Isn't this the-
Make sure that they
Like
comply
a
with setbacks.
farm stand?
Yeah, isn't this the developer that's been trying to build, 380 single unit dwellings or some
He
sort?
does have
Yeah.
approval for
Yeah.
800 units.
800 units.
Which he appealed because he didn't like the condition apparently. So there is an approval out there. On that appeal was remanded, on that, we got remanded back, we approved the 800 units. He appealed it again. Essentially, the court said, the ball's in your court. You need to submit all the plans that the town's asked for. 5 feet rear, in the wetland permit, et cetera, et cetera. So we're really waiting on the landowner to do that.
Well, that's
He
why
wants
they-
to move forward with
Is this the same
That's-
exact location that those are proposed for?
Yes, that's why they took out all the stumps.
Oh, that's I asked that.
Yeah.
That's why then. They're
And isn't there an issue with sewage, sewer permit for that?
This is.
There are limitations that I understand.
Yeah, so my understanding is he is allocated up to roughly 100,000 gallons. So it's tied up in that development.
Hmm.
So in terms of our allocation, it ties up 100,000 gallons, then that's significant, particularly considering our existing circumstances. So with all that said, certainly I can
Yeah, please.
issue a C&D, and I'd like to discuss briefly, I'll just start with the C&D, and then we'll go from there, and I'll discuss it with them. Landowner, ask them to bring forward a plan that explains what they're doing.
Mhm. Mm-hmm. Yeah, this doesn't fall under the 2017 5-acre agricultural use.
Yeah.
Could they come forward with a plan that shows activities that are exempt under those exemptions? Yes. The answer to that, though, is the onus is on them to demonstrate that they are exempt.
Mm-hmm.
Bring it.
Mm-hmm.
Ask them for as much information as we need to render that determination.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Interesting.
All right.
See, where will the footings be placed after the stumps are removed to build the facilities is my question, but that's an offline thought.
Thank you for bringing this to our attention. I don't live anywhere near that area, so I'm unaware. So we appreciate when the public comes and informs us of what's going on in town. All right, so next we're gonna, I'm sorry, is anyone else here from the public to speak? Okay. So next, there's no public hearings tonight. Do I hear a motion to accept the meeting minutes, the regular meeting minutes of our December 3rd, 2024 meeting?
Sure, I'll make a motion to accept the meetings of December 3rd, 2024.
Oh, if you want me to.
Do I hear a second?
Twist my arm.
I'll second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All those opposed? You're good. Everyone's good. Anne's not here tonight. Did she leave any comment with you for?
And she just asked if there was any questions for her to let her know, and she'll get those contacts.
Okay. I did have something that I don't want to lose sight of, so I'm going to just mention it here so I don't forget next time Anne is here. But I've been getting a lot of comments from friends that live in town how there's very little public awareness of our meetings, of all meetings in town. And I know Candace Carlson is on the board now, and she did an excellent job with the parent connection for school, just to provide it's unbiased, like this is what's going on in the schools, there's a play, go attend. And I'm just wondering if maybe the Board of Selectmen or the town would be open to having a Facebook page where they just post the meeting agendas versus, someone would have to regularly check right before the meeting when they're posted for every meeting and know when they are and when they're moved, or check the newspaper, which, let's be honest, no one gets newspaper.
I do.
Not many people get the newspaper anymore.
A few people get
So
it.
I'm just wondering if we can have more of a presence online in some form, just to let people know when meetings are, what's on the agenda.
Certainly, we can run that up in fivefold.
Yeah, just curious if they.
I would say one thing. I mean, just for the record, whoever's watching, anyone can submit their information to the town and get on the public registry. There's a public act that allows you to get on the public registry for 3 years. We'll just email you the agendas. They can also, if those individuals are that interested, they can go that far.
Mm-hmm.
We'll just automatically email them the agendas.
I would have to say that I agree that we have to post notices within 24 hours in the paper for certain things. Nobody reads it. 'Cause
Yeah.
like
Right.
with font, 2. And we say it's online. All you should do is go to the town website and look it up. Very few people do that, I expect.
Yeah.
But a lot of people do just surf Facebook. And it would be useful to have a town site on Facebook that we just post what meetings are happening.
Yeah, and even if comments are shut off, I mean, I'm not looking. It doesn't need to be this,
Yeah.
because we all know how online Facebook goes. But it just a different forum for people who are just kind of scrolling through because they're busy with everything else. Just looking at maybe other options to inform people of our meetings.
There is an East Lyme Community Forum,
Right.
and a lot of people post.
Yeah, and if maybe someone just.
Before I became a member of this commission, there were a lot of things posted on that site that were of value to me and probably of value to everyone else. So I would recommend perhaps even that site, someone being the webmaster to post these things.
Yeah, because I get a sense that people want to be involved, but not everyone has time. So there was just an easier way to highlight.
There's a little bit of you lead them to water, you can't make them drink.
Yeah.
Here, but
Yeah,
but
and
also
there's
there are
doers and
people who are
completers.
sincerely interested.
Yeah.
And so I have had I have issues with where we post these things because I don't think anybody sees them.
Right.
And the rules were made back when the newspaper was kind of universal and.
Yeah.
Certainly, I would, if we can work with the clerk's office and they were to be they post the documents online. We have to send them up there, get stamped, filed. They get posted up here on the board. So that might be something if they're willing to take up a Facebook page with East Lyme Town Hall and all their posting their agendas.
Yeah. Just wondering if they could discuss it maybe to.
Comment.
All it would take somebody take their phone out and take a picture, right, and upload it to Facebook.
Yeah. Yeah.
But we get the scanned copy of the agendas, and that's what I always go with the scanned copy. That's the official copy.
I don't even know if we need to go that far. We could just say, these are the meetings that are happening this week. Boom, there it is.
So that, if they could somehow forward the town calendar that's on the existing website to a Facebook account, that would work too. It's all there.
Yeah. Yeah. Just something I've been thinking about. That's all. So when Anne comes back next month, we'll talk to her about it. So there's no new business. Under pending applications, we have Brockett Road, Giants Neck Beach Association, Incorporated 1941, applicant, Giants Neck Improvements Club, Incorporated, owner, application to remove approximately 40 feet by 40 feet of vegetation in Lower Nahantic Pond.
I can recluse myself if there's going to be a discussion.
So this is the application we received last meeting, but we had received it that day, and it needed to be on the agenda for 15 days. So it is, do we have a copy of it here? It was, oh yeah, I see, yeah. It's for, essentially for this gentleman to fish with his grandchildren, and
Yeah.
remove some water lilies.
Right, he wants to hand clip the water lilies.
Yep,
Yeah.
yep,
Which will encourage regrowth.
yeah, right.
Yeah.
So we did determine it required an application, and this is the application. So make a determination of the, yeah. Do we want to discuss this application?
I think we've had quite a bit of discussion on
Yeah.
this one. I don't think we need to go over it again.
Right.
I think the
agree.
bottom line is he's not bringing in a forklift or a front end loader or anything to dig it out. He's just planning on, from what I understand during the presentation, he's gonna get in there and clip it.
Yes. So,
Mhm.
it's my understanding the commission felt it was a regulated activity,
Mhm.
something that we could permit, but they just need to go through the.
Right. Mhm.
Now we just need
Yeah, I think,
Yeah.
I think that the condition that I would add there is just that, you know, no mechanized removal of plants or soil.
Or chemically removed, right?
Or- Yeah,
Mhm.
you know,
Yep.
you wanna get in there and cut it out with a pair of shears, great, but
Yeah,
otherwise, you need more from us than that.
right. Yep, agreed. All right, so do I hear a motion on this one?
Can you summarize that?
Yeah.
I move that we approve the motion with the conditions that no mechanized pathways to removal of vegetation be allowed, only hand removal.
Do I hear a second?
I'll second that.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Okay. Phyllis, where, do you want to? Phyllis, you can come back in.
Phyllis, come back.
Phyllis is going to be reseated. All right, so our next application, the 138 North Brybrook Road, has been withdrawn. So we don't need to discuss that one.
there is some correspondence in regards to that in your package. Email correspondence from Alex Nicolon to myself. There's before CC, summarizing the history of the property in the application. I just wanted to note that there was a comment in here that I had indicated that because changes weren't being made to the site, that I could possibly, I could do an administrative approval without going before the commission since the driveway and bridge are already in place and the concerns. Based on that, they filed an application for wetland approval on October 21st, 2024. And the issue, and maybe it wasn't clearly articulated to the applicant, but the one pipe underneath the driveway is the reason I could not move forward because I can't prove work in wetland or water course.
Right.
So I just wanted to clarify that, so I think that's the tone of the email suggests that. So if that's the case, my apologies for any miscommunication, but that's what I think for the commission. I do
Yeah, right.
anticipate they will be back. They retained Bob Tanner to do the survey work and update the property, so it's good.
Okay, perfect.
That property's still for sale, as far as we know.
Yes, got lots of inquiries on it. Lots of, subdivide it, units gonna be out there. So, it's really gonna probably come down to soil suitability, considering that the sewer allocation is at minimum. Everyone's entitled to apply for allocation, starting maybe with 12,000 gallons, but again, there's no guarantee you're gonna get any. So, it's up to that commission. Obviously, whatever allocation they can provide, they will, if they feel so fit to do so. If it's not the full amount, then the applicant or the land developer would look to put a septic on top of it. We're all septic, depending. Different application
Right.
procedure for multiple units through DEP or Department of Health. So I think for those limitations on the property, it's really filled out. As you know, the eastern side of that is really kind of strewn with wetlands. So, well, it may have two 50-foot frontages on North Bridebrook Road. There's only one existing crossing, and to construct the second, it's a much, that southerly crossing would be much wider, I think, so the costs would be much higher with that one. So I think a lot of the folks I've talked to are concerned from pursuing at least a crossing there, but have an interest in using the existing one, and they can see that.
Okay. All right. Under old business, we have the inland wetlands watercourse regulations.
So, I guess some reviews, as you know, we've been waiting to hear back from Attorney Mark on this. In the interim, Attorney Mark has indicated he is retiring. That being said,
The nerve.
he did indicate he would tie up some loose ends and the regulations being one of them. So he will work with us to get to the finish line here on this. I think some of that got delayed to the holidays, and his retirement was like, how much notice was 2 weeks. So,
Wait, when is he retire?
he's kind of retired, so now he's just like dabbling and finishing up whatever projects and opening the cases yet.
Okay.
So once he's completed that,
So by next meeting, then we should have something.
we should have something by the next meeting, and then from there we'll probably pick up at Tim Lee's now.
Okay.
Can I, under old business, it's not on the agenda, but can I ask if there's been any progress on down by the dog park behind Costco there?
Yes. So I had Joe Wren. Tell me when. Yeah. Joe Wren on the portion.
Oh, is it?
Yeah.
Oh, okay, good. Well, we can wait till then if you want.
Yeah. Okay.
Sorry, I didn't flip the page.
We're
Okay.
almost there.
Yeah.
Okay. So then, chairman's report. I do actually have something that I want to discuss. That is, I want to be clear, is not due to any conflict of interest, but of concern. But we had that meeting about the Twin Valley Lake subdivision, and I actually had a question for Attorney Zamarka, that he said that the properties fall within the 100-foot upland review area, but if anyone recalls, that application was just for a road and nothing else. So I'm curious as to why those properties would fall under the 100-foot and not be new applications under the 300-foot. But regardless, they all have upland review area on their property, and because it was a conservation design requiring rain gardens and easements of no clearing, I think it's a critical property that the applications and the applicants are fully aware of the requirements for their properties when they purchased those, because they were allowed to be clustered because of the open space, but also then requiring rain gardens and no clearing limits. And I'm wondering why the application for the road is now encompassing all the properties as well.
The application, so at the time we reviewed the application, the agency, and I know it was brought up during public hearing specifically, and to quote Zamarka, is that the agency was able to review activities made inevitable by the proposed activity. So meaning the consideration, you were able to require a nitrogen loading analysis for a single family house on lot 4. They volunteered to do it, but the agency, if they wanted to, was able to ask for that, because the activity made inevitable by the road is a single family house. So by looking at all the houses and that as a whole subdivision, so when a subdivision comes before you, that's kind of how the agency is looking at it, or at least I think it would want to consider, okay, yeah, where are the regulated areas? So there were only a few portions of the road that fell within that 100-foot upland review. Now with the 300-foot, the whole thing is going to be within it. But nonetheless, you still could consider activities made inevitable by the road construction, which is all the single-family homes. And where do those septics fall? Do they fall within that upland review area? I can get clarification from Attorney Zamarka as to whether we apply the 300 or the 100-foot upland review as far as the house construction. I don't think they have a problem applying for wetland permits as long as they know they're going to get them. And there'd be no reason to deny them a permit unless they're showing.
Yeah, correct. No, I,
Or
right, and that, and I,
napkin, but any.
I just think the attentiveness to the fact that it's a conservation design, that there's rain gardens, that I think that each application should be considered
Yes.
individually.
The difficulty that I certainly understand that, and it's something that we struggle with even in planning. When they approve the subdivisions and they require rain gardens, and that rain garden is actually treating some water and it's being used toward the water quality problem that needs to be met. Well, there's no policing mechanism to ensure that the prospective homeowner doesn't fill it in a year later. Because it's painful.
Yeah, so how do we allow that though?
So, short of the zoning commission adopting the regulation that, hey, rain gardens are structures, we're gonna regulate them, and if you fill it in, it's a violation of the zoning regulations, because it's a stormwater structure, that would be the only way I could do it, because we're not taking that structure over as a public improvement. Now, if the town did, then no issues, we'll just dig it out, and we'll send you the bill. One of the things that Bill Scheer has promoted in the past with detention basins and saying, hey, we don't want to have the maintenance of it, so it's going to fall on the association to do it, so push the developer in the direction of creating an association. But we have prescriptive rights and or to have them build rights into there or give us an easement for the maintenance of it should they fail to do it. That way we can at least go in and maintain it if they fail and send them the bill. So that's one way around it. So if there's some way we can build that into the subdivision regs, that would be helpful. This would give us a mechanism for enforcement on making sure that rain gardens stay rain gardens.
Because it's already turned over to a new developer, and I just get concerned about the criticality of that property and conserve that whole conservation design that, as proposed, that's what moves forward. And I just think it's, you know, I mean, I don't know necessarily it's right to have the whole onus on you.
Well, I was the agent.
I know, but right, but I guess because there's 24 lots. I just.
So I'll review all 24 plans that come through the office, and if it requires a permit, issue them a permit for the activity, with or without conditions. Or if it's for a deck for a single-family house, okay, you have silt fence. I usually tell people, as far as thresholds go, it's within 25 feet of the wetland boundary, or if you're moving 100 cubic yards of material, whether deposition or excavation, doesn't matter, I'm going to kick it off to the commission for review. So if your house is 50 feet from the wetlands, and the closest thing is your footing drain outlet, it's got a splash pad on, I have no problems approving that standard process. But if they're getting closer to the wetland, questions why, you know, sometimes do I prefer, I'd rather have the house closer to the wetland than the septic system. The only downside there is the lawn areas will tend to expand a little bit into the wetland. But that happens naturally, I think, in any property in town. Because people put their leaf clippings and all their yard clippings and debris on the edge of the wetland boundary.
Right.
So what about tagging trees if it's part of a
Yeah, that
So
was
conservation?
that
I
was in
believe
there.
as part of that permit, they have to put the tags up. So I do let them know. I have a stack of them. They can just take as many as they like, but I said they only need to be roughly 50 feet on center. I did talk to Yvonne on the project. He was like, that's a lot. And I'm like, well, it's at least 2 trees per lot. That way you know. There's no question.
Yeah.
That there's a wetland there.
So I know you're busy, but is there any way that you can check the, like, particular trees are tagged? I mean, because I would hate to see them just clear cut the whole thing.
Right.
And that's a good possibility of happening if somebody's not following through on it.
Yeah, I can follow up. I mean, they did ask, they wanted to clear the lots because they're going to be in and out in a year at a time. So that's how fast this company
Well, that's, you know, they come in, they not rush, whatever, they do their work, make it easiest for them as possible, but there's completely wetlands surrounding the entire property, and we're talking 25 homes with
So they
abutting
do-
all of them.
They have to
So,
contact me prior to the start
And
of
then they leave.
construction. We had a pre-construction meeting already with them on site, with the town engineer, myself, and the water sewer utilities engineer, Ben North. Stressed to them the importance of that they're aware that, you know, there's some likely litigation.
mhm.
So that I think they, at least the new developers, I feel that they're aware of this, you know, the significance of the wetland there and the importance of following the plan.
Mhm.
I stress that to them, if you follow the plan, there'll be no issues.
Right.
If you want to make changes to the plan, then you're going to hurt us. That's fine, we can do that, but it may take longer than, you know, if you want to fast track it. So they, and I said, okay, let's do our best to stick to the plan.
Mhm.
So does every one of those lots have to come before the inland wetlands because they're within the 300 foot?
Well, that's what I wanted clarification
That-
on, because.
I believe, so my understanding from talking with Mark Zamarka was they don't. They're 300 foot is what I applied to. That's what they
Okay. All right.
So I'll get clarification that can I apply that, you know, as you said, the application.
The application was just for a road,
Right, yeah.
so each house would be a new application.
I would argue that the application wasn't just for a road, it's for the subdivision.
I know, we went in circles on this.
Semantics.
Well,
Yeah.
that's crucial in the fact that if there are inland wetlands on a piece of property that you're proposing to subdivide, you must make application, or rather, you must go to the inland wetland agency and have a report furnished. Get a report, whether it's favorable or negative, it doesn't matter, to the planning commission. So the planning commission can't do anything on that application unless that applicant's already been here and they received the report. So that is, it's kind of important to distinguish that one, you know, whether it's.
Yeah, and I think it's not that we're going to say no, you can't build a house here, but the fact that if you would have to come to us, then you now recognize, okay, this is actually a little bit more serious. Like I do need to be careful. I can't just cut everything down because, you know, homeowners just move in and they have no idea and then they do whatever they want. Whereas if maybe there's a little bit more awareness of.
In particular, because you have a possibility of a view. Isn't
Yes.
4 Mile River on the other
It's right
side?
there.
Yeah, half of the
A water
houses,
view.
if they
There you
cut
go.
down, it's a
Yeah.
water view. Yeah. Yeah, and they're not supposed to cut the trees down.
I believe there's a 40-foot
There's a,
conservation.
there is.
That's supposed to be enforced, so they can't cut to.
But
So that's where I would make sure that, okay, if they start clearing to build a house there, and they're cutting into the 40-foot buffer, well, I'm gonna send them a letter and say, hey, you're in violation of easement.
mhm.
Correct it, vegetated or whatever they have to do, mitigate it, but, we wouldn't allow them to do
Mhm.
that. That would be under my jurisdiction.
Mhm. Okay. All right. There's this inquiring of concern.
No problem.
All right. So then moving on, inland wetlands agent report.
Don't have a whole lot to report to answer the first question on Sound and Cove. Should have copied the plan. I think I copied the plan. So, I don't have these scanned as of yet, so you can send them out. I've reviewed this plan already, and approved it. So, and Alex.
The plume that comes down the hill by
Yep.
Costco.
So
Oh, yeah.
Mhm.
I authorized Joe.
Oh, it goes this way.
To proceed with work, and that's so that they can begin. I approved the plan, so hopefully this work will get started as soon as they have an opportunity. He was kind of pushing me to prove it in order that he was really worried about the weather.
Yeah, how do you get removed? Yeah. Yeah, yeah.
So if you get a thaw, tell them to go ahead and try to have it lined up so they can manage that.
Is it the next one over here?
Yeah.
I'm gonna go slow.
Have they fixed the issue around the dog park?
I don't know. I did it
Oh, okay, okay.
last week.
Oh, so they haven't done any work waiting for your
They've
approval?
already, they received the approval, but I don't think
Yeah.
between the week's time, they
Yeah, no, I wasn't sure if they had started the dog park work already. Okay.
so I'll try to get out there this week and see if any progress has been made. I'll reach out to Joe, but I really don't think they have.
Mm-hmm. But they did stop. What was?
They put up some ENS controls.
Yeah. Okay.
So,
So it was stabilized. Mostly. Yeah.
they're
Okay.
still an open gully.
Mm.
So
Yeah. Right.
I think they're just gonna try to
Yeah.
collect the sediment at the bottom of that gully and keep it from moving into the wetland for the time being.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
When it breaks, they'll be able to take it all.
Thank you.
That's good. It's pretty significant when you see it on the going out. Yeah.
And then in your packet, 3 Spring Glen, single-family house. Quick report, they have some down silt fence, some recurring problem. I'll talk to the contractor, indicating my memo, spoken to them already once. Seems they can't do a better job. So it seems to be any issues with erosion, actually beyond the silt fence per se.
I think 2 of them are titled 3 Spring Glen, but one is,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. Okay, that's unlikely this is. Okay.
So we're trying to get some information.
Yeah, no, I like the pictures.
Is a single family house. I approved that administratively. It was a tear down or a rebuild. It's a smaller footprint. It is existing pond on the property. And as you can see in the pictures, they're maintaining that existing landscaping. So overall, the site's flat. There's little to no grade at it, and it's a lot of sand and gravel. So one off, there's very little. Kate Brookfield, I do need to continue to follow up on that and see if I can install some trees. As I said at the last meeting, I did talk to Ryan Mockley Drive, I did speak briefly to Mr. Wagner. He asked me what type of trees that I needed to revegetate. Particularly, I prefer, going back to the evergreens that were there, but if that's something we don't want, or more of a canopy tree would be probably appropriate. Trying to work something out with him, that we pick some species of tree and have him plant several on both sides. Like I said, previously the slope is revegetated, so it's not like any active erosion. If anything, there's just the canopy back and get some shade back on the lawn. I think most of you have seen 137 Flanders Road. It's still the site's still unstable. I wouldn't say it's unstable, but there's no topsoil. There's really no erosion controls. There's a berm of stone, it looks like a stone wall that he's burned up to along what appears to be a drainage, more of a drainage ditch. It could be an intermittent water course into the back of the catch basin on 61. So there's nothing sloughing off or moving into that drainage ditch. So that's a good thing, but I'm not sure why he wasn't able to button up the site. My understanding is he was able to waterproof his basement and get that resolved. So I'm thinking the rest can get, at least this spring. I was hoping in this fall they would have graded and seeded it. Not sure why it didn't happen. So I'll try to get some answers there, and hopefully this spring will stabilize the whole. So 249 Old Black Point Road. Just before the holiday, we got Ed Wenke, the engineer, who has retained all of the maps previous owner who knew, obtained the permit must have filled it. That's the only
For
rationale I
resale value, maybe?
have. Pardon?
Possibly for when they were selling it for more value? I mean, why would you?
So I said, well, I don't know, that issue's between you and the previous owner. Wetland agency just wants to restore.
Yeah, yeah.
She was no problem.
Okay, that's good.
There's a plan in the works, and that little Indian pond was on there just as we had previously discussed leaving it on there, but I don't have anything to report on it.
Yeah, I think we can probably take that off.
And I've seen some wood ducks on it, so that's a good sign.
Seen loons standing on their plastic swans.
Oh, I want a picture of that.
Just saying.
I mean, it's in a highly visible area, so
Yeah.
if something happens, yeah.
They've already had washover once this year, this season already. Yeah. So
Let's turn in.
All right. Anybody have anything else? Do I hear a motion to adjourn?
Ooh.
I move we adjourn.
I second that.
Ooh, third it.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Thank you.